I'd like to call the regular City Council meeting, Sherwood, to order.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Middleton.
Here.
Council President Henderson.
Here.
Councilor Grant.
Here.
Councilor Folsom.
Here.
Councilor Butterfield. Here. Councilor Langer.
Here.
Councilor Clark. Here. Thank you.
We have 3 items on the consent calendar.
I don't think your button's up.
We have 3 items on the consent calendar.
I'll move consent.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, presentations. Our first and only so far tonight is recognition of an Eagle Scout. And it's Olson Cottle. Please come forward. Come on up, tell us what you've done. I think Mr. Butterfield, Councilor Butterfield, had something to ask you also.
No pressure.
Please sit down and kind of explain what you did for your project, how long it took, what was done, everything.
I just took trash out of the Tualatin River from Shamrock Bridge to Tualatin Cook Park. We did it in about 3 or 4 trips, if I can remember right. And hardest part about it was getting all the kids able to steer a canoe right.
Did you actually get like from the bottom of the water too, or just like off the sides?
Just
mostly?
off the sides. The trash usually migrated to the sides, and some of it was in the water.
Well, that's a great project. We really do thank you for it. And I have a certificate of achievement to present you. Did anybody else from council have anything to say?
I'd like to know if you
Oh,
tipped
I'm
over
sorry,
any-
sorry.
How many merit badges did your dad
Like 5.
At least that's an honest answer.
Did you tip over any canoes?
When I was a scouter, how many did I help him with?
You.
When I was a scout, I got 5 total merit badges.
I know you did.
I have a question.
5 total?
And then I was asked to leave scouting.
So I'm just wondering what made you decide to do that? Of all the projects that you could have chosen from, what made you decide to do that project?
I was good at canoeing, and one of our friends has like 12 canoes and a trailer for it, so it was easy, and Tualatin's like 10 minutes away, so just easy access.
What
And
did you do with the trash when you were done?
We just loaded it to the Newburgh dump place,
And how many bags did you pull out?
like a trailer load.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a dirty river.
And how many agencies did you have to coordinate with to make that happen?
Just Clean Water Services in the city of Tualatin.
Thank you.
Somebody down here?
I was just wondering how many canoes tipped over.
Just one, actually. Well, one guy fell out. No canoes actually tipped over.
Was it your dad?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. We have this certificate of achievement, and we can't thank you enough for doing these projects. It really helps us all out. There's so much trash down there. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Oh,
Did we have any citizen comments? Did we have any citizen comments tonight? Oh, is yours on a specific item? This is on something that's not on the agenda.
Okay.
So, okay, we'll call you up in a few. Thank you. First item of new business is Resolution 2013-006, authorizing the city manager to enter into intergovernmental agreement provisions on groundskeeping services. Craig Shelton.
So,
Okay. So this resolution is for the city manager to sign an IGA with the school district to take over maintenance of the grounds in front of the school district, as well as the hardscape and the parking lots. We currently have an IGA with the school district that we maintain the ball fields. This will be a separate IGA. It's for up to $120,000 worth of service, with $60,000 of purchasing equipment with from the school district through personnel service over a 3-year period, which would be $20,000 a year. And then we move forward after that. There's some efficiencies here. We, as the city, purchase the same equipment. We do the same training for our staff as the school district would have to do for their maintenance employee. The school district had a maintenance employee retire in November of last year, and that's really kind of brought this on of how they were going to do business. And the school district's really in the business to do education and not landscaping services.
Any questions from council?
I don't really have a question. I just want to thank you for the work you did in putting this together and make a point. I really appreciate what you said. The equipment is purchased with personnel services over the period of 3 years. So it doesn't cost the city any out-of-pocket cash. But we're helping. And I just wanted to thank Joe and Heather, Superintendent Cordy, for all the work they've done. As a citizen, I appreciate seeing these economies of scale and efficiencies happen.
Any other comments? I'd like to know if, to council, if it's okay if I open it up to public comments, if anybody had a question from the public. Is that all right?
Sure. Yeah.
Does anybody from the public have a question on this? Hearing none? I call for a motion.
I move that we adopt Resolution 2013-006.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The next item on the agenda is Resolution 2013-007, authorizing the city manager to award a contract to replace the artificial turf at Snyder Park soccer field. Craig?
Thank you. So the turf field was built in 2001. It's in need of repair. The turf is supposed to last 8 to 10 years, depending on usage. We currently did a supplemental budget back last year. We've been able to look at a couple different options. One option that we're proposing tonight is to go through the Association of Education Purchasing Agency. I didn't even know it was out there. But they went through a bidding process for 24 states, and Oregon is one of them. It's actually through the Intermountain Educational Service District in Oregon, which is in Umatilla. There's like 4 or 5 people that work in an office that actually they do that business for a lot of Oregon schools, and then they actually go to a national level. So really what we're doing here is really no different than when we bought a mower through Arizona Purchasing, or when Kristen and them put in bathrooms at Stella Olson, they bought through a joint purchasing. This was an actual bid that was done. It was out to bid in August of 2011. There was mailing of bid notices done in August of 2011 as well. September, there was a pre-bid meeting, voluntary, because you're bidding all over the nation. September 30th was deadlines for questions and bidders. October 14th, there was bid submittals and public opening. November 29th of 2011, there was approval of bids. December 7th, bidders were advised of the results. March 1st of last year, the contract went into place for first year, and it's up to 2015. Each year in February, they either accept a new contract or not. The cost of this, I'm kind of going to go rough numbers right now because we still haven't negotiated anything, but we're figuring that by using this, it's going to come in at about $390,000 just for the turf with the lacrosse lines. There's an agency down the road here that just recently did a project. They sole sourced their project. The same material, everything, $434,000. So there's about $45,000 savings here to go this direction, as well as staff time, not having to prepare the bid packets and everything else. Also, as we talked in the work session, as well as supplemental budget time, there's a chance that it could go up to $500,000 or more, depending on what is pulled up after the turf is removed. My plan is to have a compaction testing done here in the next 2 or 3 weeks That's when we would sit down with Field Turf from that report, go off of what actually needs to be done underneath. I do know that this agency that in Oregon that just did the work, the same contractor that put this field in is they just spent $260,000 on top of the turf repairing the stuff that's under the ground because of the minus rock that was used. So I want to give that, not doomsday here or anything, but I want to give that heads up that that could happen, and we would come back at that time to talk to you. But this would get the process started, allow us to negotiate, as well as get the material ordered up if it's successful.
Council comments?
So I have a question. The life expectancy of a field like this is 8 to 10 years. Is that the future as well?
I think that's going to be determined on warranty is what we find underneath the turf.
Right.
That's really, Field Turf would not warranty at this other agency because of what was the base that was put in. We got to assume that hopefully we have no problems and we move on. We've never really had any drainage issues up there that I'm aware of, but there's always that chance. And I think that's the negotiating terms when we actually sit down after we have the compaction testing and see what's under there to negotiate that out. But that is, they're still supposed to last 8 to 10 years. The warrant, like I said, warranty, the training, it's going to be similar field that we already have. Field Turf installed the stuff at the high school. We've had a good field, working field. Field Turf's down the road here. They've done our infills for us over the years. They've been here locally to help us out when we needed it. We haven't needed a lot of help, but they do spend time, come out and look at the fields too on their own, and they've complimented that the crews do a great job of maintaining those fields. So,
One more question along those lines too. So we had to do a supplemental budget to make this happen this time. Can either you or Joe or Craig address how we'll make sure in the future we have the appropriate money set aside to do the replacement?
We will present you with budgets that have a $50,000 contribution to a replacement reserve for this item. For 10 years, $500,000.
Any more questions? No? Call for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adopt this resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item C under new business. Resolution 2013-008, acknowledging the Ice Age Tonquin Trail Master Plan as a reference document for decision-making processes. Michelle Miller, Associate Planner.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment to introduce Brian Stecker. You might all know him from the Parks Board. He was our citizen representative on the steering committee for the Ice Age Tonquin Trail process. And I'm very grateful for his efforts in this project. It really helped give me a check on what the citizens were thinking and also to bounce a lot of ideas about it. I'm sure at the beginning of this process he probably wasn't aware of the time that it would take or the length of time that he was committing to, but I sure am grateful for his support throughout the process. The resolution before you this evening is has the exhibit of the Ice Age Tonquin Trail. Again, it'll look a little familiar. We just kind of discussed this at the work session, and this will be a brief overview for the public. I'm going to talk a little bit about the vision and planning process that we went through, the recommended trail route, and the trail design and the implementation. Again, I want to stress that this is really a guidebook and gives us the formula that we need as we move forward with implementing the trail and determining where the location of the trail will be specific to Sherwood. And a lot of the decisions have yet to be made as we move forward with our Cedar Creek Trail process, but this really gives us a good overview of how we'll proceed in the future. The master plan vision included connecting rivers and cities primarily through a pedestrian and bike-friendly multi-use trail. We'll have a lot of scenic views and access to nature on the trail, and it will give us an interpretation of the Ice Age floods that are really unique to the southwest Sherwood area and also the southwest region as a whole. You can see it'll start off down in Boone's Ferry, go through one of the forks, will go through Tualatin, and end up one day at the National Wildlife Refuge in Sherwood. So the Ice Age Tonkin Trail will be part of the regional trail network, which you can see is quite a series of trails, some built, some not, through the metropolitan region. Hopefully one day we'll connect the Willamette River all the way up to the Columbia River through a multi-use trail. So the study area encompassed Boones Ferry Park, Graham Oaks Nature Park in Wilsonville, the Coffee Creek Natural Area through Stella Olson Park. Also, it'll head up the Cedar Creek Greenway here in Sherwood on one fork, and then the other fork will head through Hedges Creek Greenway, which is in downtown Tualatin area, and end up on the Keokuts Bridge, which will connect the various parks between Tualatin and Tigard area. The project steering committee, as I alluded to, contained both a citizen representative and also a staff representative. And that was really a unique process where we were all working on the project together, along with Clackamas County and Washington County Clean Water Services, and also Hal Ballard of Washington County Cycle Advocate. So also we had quite an extensive community involvement participation through open houses and attending various events, along with mailers and news articles as well. So here you can kind of see the 10,000-foot view, so to speak, of the three cities and the trail. Here's a little closer view of what the trail will extend through Sherwood area, and it has two forks as well, connecting with the West Side Trail on the east and heading up through Roy Rogers and the Tualatin River National Wildlife Refuge on the west side. The trail will include different types of facilities with a shared use path and off-road trail components, and also a few on-street with shared lane markings. There'll be trailheads at various portions throughout the trail that'll all be similar throughout the way, along with wayfinding and signage that will help make everyone know that they're all part of the Ice Age Tonkin Trail. So adoption of resolution really helps give us a blueprint for future trail development through grants and also through private development, so we know kind of where the trail may be located. It will help with the transportation system plan update in the future, as well as be a part of the regional trail network. It also ultimately supports other trail planning efforts in other communities as they develop their trail segments. And if you have any questions, I'd also like to take this time to let Brian have a few moments of his experience on working on the steering committee.
I don't have a lot to add to Michelle's presentation. She went over it very well. My job, as far as being the citizen representative, the way I interpret it, was to take back to the Parks Board specifically. And I've been updating them on the progress that Michelle and I have made for the last 2.5 years on this project. So, you know, they've got monthly updates from that. And I've also tried to be available at all the public meetings where we've invited the citizens in to see what we're actually planning for them. So that's all.
Thanks, Brian. Anybody have any questions about anything?
Council questions? I'd also like to open this up to public comment, if that's okay. Go ahead. Yep. Give it to her, and then please give when you get up there, give your name and address. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Wendy Killington. I'm an attorney.
Oh, the same thing. Okay.
Pardon me. I'm an attorney representing a group of industrial owners and operators in the Tualatin area, in the Southwest Concept Plan area, representing 50 family wage jobs. They're called the Tonkin Industrial Group. I've listed who they are in this letter. For the record, I have provided a series of exhibits as well as a letter, which I know you won't have an opportunity to read tonight, but you might want to have a chance to take a look at it in the future. And there are plenty of copies for your staff as well. To make this brief, the Tonkin Industrial Group has been participating in this process for a long time as well, with Metro and Tualatin. Most pointedly, we submitted comments on January 9th to Metro outlining some serious concerns that the Tonkin Industrial Group have. The Tonkin Industrial Group is located in a regionally significant industrial area within the UGB, not yet annexed to the city of Tualatin. It's a highly developed area with heavy freight, trucking, equipment. A rail spur is proposed, and the trail in this area is proposed to go through the Tonkin Industrial Area along the railroad tracks in a way that we're very concerned is unsafe and would adversely impact freight mobility in this area. There are no ice age phenomenon in the regionally significant industrial area. There are some colks, some ice age colks, way to the north, just outside of the area, but there's nothing inside. There's nothing of any interest to this activity. So we have asked that the alignment through the regionally significant industrial area be removed. It has not been removed, and so we are here asking you not to adopt, accept, rely on this document until such time as the regionally significant industrial area that we represent are adequately protected. Why do we care? We have significant concerns about the tremendous usage that you've already seen in the Metro numbers of the Grams Ferry segment of this trail, 600, 700 people a day using the trail, conflicting with heavy truck movements, rail spurs, rail movements. It's not safe. Freight mobility will be impaired, and 50 family wage jobs are nothing to sneeze at. In addition, land use restrictions. You know, the idea that there would be trail setbacks that would foreclose development, expansions of these industrial uses in the regionally significant industrial area. The concern is not trifling. In my letter at page 3, I quote some language from the plan about, you know, this is a serious document. It's not just sort of concept that can change, but it's a serious roadmap for what's going to happen with respect to subsequent plans and TSPs for the city, for Washington County and others. There's other language I quote at page 4. One particular quote I want to bring to your attention, it says, project partners need to work closely with Washington County to be sure trail design is a component of these projects and that trail right-of-way is preserved for future development in the areas where they are listed. There are reasons to do it, not only for good policy, but also legal ones that I know are probably tiresome to hear about. But it is in a regionally significant industrial area. The Metro Framework Plan, Functional Plan says you're not supposed to have public parks in those areas. On page 6, I quote the Regional Framework Plan that says that. This is a very large, of course, regional linear park. I don't think anybody disputes that. So in all, while we strongly support citizens' access to the Ice Age phenomenon, we think it's a very cool idea. We're very concerned about those 50 family wage jobs, the regionally significant industrial area, and feel like it's a little bit premature to be pushing this through when this important issue is still, alive in the region. So we'd ask you to not accept this until the issue is resolved. I don't see why there's any particular ants in our pants to get this thing going without, resolving this issue. So thanks for listening to me. I know it's not your problem, really. You've been very courteous. Thank you.
Thank you. Does council have any questions?
I do. I'm sure Bill does. I'll let him go first.
Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing exactly what portion of this trail on the map that she's talking about
I'm not exactly certain. This is really kind of the time I've heard about it. I believe it's that kind of right where the U is, where the trail forks. Is that correct?
Oh, 74.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have
She's
the
talking
actual.
about her document,
Mhm.
right?
Which map number is it? Could you? It says on the bottom. Noel.
So this isn't actually an
Map-
area that we'd
map
actually
number
have to
12.
say of the alignment.
It's 12.
It's 12.
Map 12. Yeah, she's talking about the U area. So north.
Tonquin and Morgan Road.
Mm-hmm.
So is it all in Washington County at this point?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not within it's not within the city of Tualatin.
It's part of
Mhm.
what she said was the basalt study area. Southwest. Oh, excuse me. Southwest Tualatin concept plan area. Work with industrial. So there's a footnote. Work with industrial landowners near McCammett Road to determine the most appropriate trail alignment in that area. So on the next page. So the tables, the maps include tables that provide footnotes of where there's still a few question marks as far as how the alignment will actually work. Metro has a willing seller program. Any type of easements would have to be under what they would be wanting to do. And also, in looking at the Title VI, that's also Metro. So a Metro document that they're referring to. So we're talking about a Metro plan coming in with the Metro guidelines. So all of those things will all have to be coalesced, so to speak, when we're talking about this section.
Just to clarify, this section is not in our decision-making area.
Right.
Correct?
It is not.
Okay. And so, am I understand that it's in metros? Or in Tualatin's?
No, it's Washington County jurisdiction.
Okay. And you said that you had not heard of this dispute before, is that correct?
Not specifically.
Okay.
I have.
Councilor Folsom, did you have something?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure I understand, so reflective listening is always my backup tool. So in your meetings, you had not heard of this concern brought to the attention of the steering committee on this. Is that correct?
Correct.
What you're asking us to do tonight is just to bless a concept plan that is still in a state of flux.
Well, it's a master plan document, so it has guidelines and a general alignment for all jurisdictions to say we'll be supportive of their decision making as they develop their alignments in this general vicinity, and that we can only really guide with what's in our jurisdictional bounds and how our trail develops. And we're going to look at this document as we're planning our trail segments and say, this is some guidelines of where we can go for resources, for grants, or for this is ballpark what certain things are, and this is ballpark of what certain things will cost, and this is ballpark of what it will look like. And we've agreed that we'll be supportive of one another's jurisdictions as they develop their sections.
Okay. So if we did pass this resolution or did not pass this resolution, it likely wouldn't impact what Washington County does.
That's correct.
Correct.
It will show that we're supportive of this trail and the work that's been done on the master plan document.
Right, but I believe what you're saying by pointing out page 75 is that there are ways that the concerns of this particular group that's spoken to us tonight could be met.
Exactly.
And mitigated, but it's not even within our purview to have anything to do with that.
We
correct?
will not be a part of that.
Right.
Any more questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll move we adopt Resolution 2013-008.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
City manager.
City manager report.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I have 3 items very briefly this evening. One, I wanted to give you an update because I haven't mentioned it. We have been meeting with PGE to negotiate a new franchise. I think Craig Sheldon, Craig Gibbons, and I met earlier this week, actually yesterday. I think we're done at the point of the staff looking at the proposed franchise. Now we're going to kick it to the attorneys, which may or may not take some time. But PGE's been negotiating a lot of franchises throughout the region, have been negotiating a lot of franchises for cities that are represented by our attorneys, so they kind of know what Nancy Warner, who's our primary attorney on this, is looking for. So I'm hoping that it'll be a fairly expeditious process and that you'll see something before the end of this fiscal year on your agenda to approve a new franchise. So that's just an update. I don't know if there's any questions on that at this point, but I hope to have that done by July 1st. And we are looking at a 10-year franchise. They asked for 20, so we settled on 10. So another thing, I mentioned this in my Friday update, and I think this is something I'm going to offer to the council and to the planning commission. You don't have to go on this, but I'm going to offer the opportunity. I went and had a really interesting tour of Clean Water Services Durham. I'm going to call it a sewage facility. That's not what they call it anymore. It's a wastewater treatment plant, but to me it's a sewage plant. And it was actually very fascinating. We took Craig Sheldon, he brought some of his staff who work on the sewer system here who had never been to that facility, and actually it was very eye-opening for them to kind of connect the dots. And then Julia, as the community development director, who had never visited the facility, went. So there's additional staff that want to go actually see it. It's a really state-of-the-art, unique facility in our backyard, and it provides a very important service that we don't necessarily want to think about. But it was eye-opening, and I think especially in land use and as the city grows, knowing what that facility is all about and how unique it is would be, I think some of you might be interested in going on a tour sometime this summer at that facility. If you've never been there, it's worth it. They do some very, very unique, creative things. And it's right next to Tigard High School and an elementary school, and it's amazing the odor control issues that they don't have because they've invested a lot of money into that facility, which are our taxpayers' money. So you'll see an invite for the summer. You don't have to go, but if you've never been there, it's worth it. So, Councilor Henderson, you have to go. There's something at the very end that I just thought of you and said.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yes. So anyway, and then I've started the. I couldn't resist. It's a good one. So I've started the practice of introducing new staff when we hire new people. But I wanted to let you know, I think, and for the public, we are losing a long-term staff member. Our HR director, Anna Lee, submitted her resignation yesterday, and it's effective next Friday, March 1st. She's leaving to go to Metro. I think it's a great opportunity for her. She's been with us for 8.5 years. So if you get the opportunity to drop her a note or to stop by her office and thank her, I think she would appreciate it. Anytime a position opens up, it gives us an opportunity to kind of rethink how we do things. So I think that my senior management team and I are already talking, how do we do HR? And we don't necessarily have to do it the same way we've always done it. And it provides an opportunity. So if you have any input on that, I would love to hear it in the next few weeks as I try to figure out how we're going to fill that need. So any questions for me or the department heads?
Can I have one? Downtown streets update, Mr. Pessmer?
Yes.
They've moved on to what would be the west side of the Railroad Street.
Yes, they have. So Downtown Streetscapes is profiting from some nice weather, able to get in and get a lot of utilities done and get a nice sub base. They compacted the rock on the section of railroad between Pine and Washington today, and plan to get the section compacted between Washington and Main Street tomorrow. I just out of curiosity, I go out and talk to the businesses along the way and visited 4 businesses today, and 2 said they're doing better business than they ever have, and 2 said that it hasn't impacted them at all. So don't know if that was just a random sample, but it was good news. Good to hear that the people are continuing to recognize that businesses are open in Old Town and that they're continuing to come down and do that. I think it shows that the contractor is doing a good job. When I was in one of the businesses, they specifically came in to talk about a constructability issue to make sure that the owner was aware of what they were doing and the special measures that they were taking in order to protect their business. So I guess the project is going well. It's probably a little bit ahead of schedule. It can rain now as soon as they get that compacted until we start pouring concrete, and then we're asking for nice weather again. So.
I think staff should be commended for all the signs you put up indicating that the businesses are still open, naming the businesses specifically, and signs going in both directions and signs repeating themselves. I think that's what it takes, and I was very impressed by how you did that. I'm sure that is part of the success of the businesses that are maintaining to be open.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, the one comment I've received is that pedestrians as well as business owners have been very happy with the cleanliness and courtesy of the construction company, so compliments to them. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Anything else? Thank you.
Council comments?
I have 2. So on that note, the Old Town Main Street Association, it has every Wednesday at 11 a meeting at the Rebecca Lodge to kind of give updates to everyone, all of the businesses, and anyone that might be interested about the Old Town construction and how it is progressing. So if anyone wants to attend and hear about those updates, that's offered to anyone at 11 o'clock on Wednesdays at the Rebecca Lodge. I also wanted to announce that the Chamber next Tuesday at the Police Department, Sherwood Police, is going to have at 6:15 to 7:15 p.m. They're going to host a Sherwood Old Town, and it's going to have Representative John Davis and Senator George are going to be there. They are, I think that the Chamber is putting it on, but the representative and the senator are actually the hosts for District 26. Representative Thatcher is also going to be there. It should be really informational about what's going on outside of just the city of Sherwood, but it includes us. These are our representatives to the state. So the Chamber really wants to encourage everyone to come. We want to pack the house because I understand Wilsonville had one last week and they had 35. So we want to beat them, definitely. So next Tuesday, 6:15 at the Sherwood Police Department.
I had a group of citizens give me a really nice typewritten some thoughts on branding of Old Town. And so I meant to check with Joe and Sylvia ahead of time, but would it be possible if I gave those documents to you, if you could get them around to council? I just wanted to publicly thank them for taking an interest. They are all either longtime or lifelong residents here in Sherwood. Love it, love what is happening in Old Town, and just happened to go and visit Leavenworth, Washington recently, and just thought it would, if we created our own identity very inexpensively or with what's already happening in Old Town. And they literally put together a document describing some thoughts and ideas they had. And so I wanted to let them know how much I appreciated it, but also pass that around to everyone, and might be something that we could I don't know where it would go after that. But I do appreciate citizens speaking to us and telling us what they are excited about and what they think that we can do for their community, because they do love it.
Councilor Butterfield?
Thanks, Bill. I just want to let you know that as the newly appointed liaison to the school board, I had a nice conversation with Heather Corby, the superintendent. She was excited about the fact that we were going to get a little bit more involved with what they do. She wanted to know how involved we wanted to get to the point where I guess now there's going to actually be a section in every school board meeting for me to update.
Wow.
So,
You need another meeting.
thank you very much. But the school board was enthusiastic about it, so all good.
And following on that, she wrote a real nice comment in her weekly update. Yeah, it was really nice.
Any other comments? I guess we're
I guess we're adjourned.